Welcome back to our channel. We hope you'll find valuable content here. If you enjoy our channel, please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Let's dive in. Imagine a country that, in just a few decades, transformed from a war-torn, agrarian society into a global economic powerhouse. This is the story of South Korea. But like any gripping tale, it's not without its twists and turns. While South Korea's economic achievements are laudable, it also grapples with some deep-rooted societal challenges. To truly appreciate South Korea's economic journey, let's take a step back in time. In the 1960s, South Korea's GDP per capita was comparable to that of some African nations. Fast forward to today, and it's a member of the G20, home to global giants like Samsung and Hyundai, and a hub for innovation and technology. How did this happen? A glimpse into South Korea's economic landscape. South Korea presents a fascinating study of contrasts and paradoxes, particularly when it comes to its economic landscape. On one hand, you have a nation that has experienced meteoric growth, transforming from a war-ravaged, impoverished state to a global economic powerhouse in just a few decades. On the other, this rapid development has come at a cost, with societal issues such as high suicide rates and a plummeting fertility rate casting a long shadow on its achievements. The rapid ascent to economic prosperity. The story of South Korea's economic ascent is nothing short of remarkable. In the aftermath of the Korean War, the country was left in ruins, with its economy in tatters. However, through a combination of government-led initiatives, a strong work ethic, and a relentless drive for innovation, South Korea managed to turn its fortunes around. The government played a pivotal role in this transformation, implementing policies that promoted industrialization, exports, and foreign investments. Massive infrastructure projects were undertaken, laying the groundwork for industrial growth. The focus was on building a strong foundation that would support the development of various industries, from textiles in the early days to electronics, automotive, and technology in later years. Education was another area that received significant attention. Recognizing the importance of a skilled workforce, the government invested heavily in education, ensuring that the population was well equipped to meet the demands of the growing industries. This emphasis on education continues to this day, with South Korea boasting one of the highest literacy rates in the world. The societal challenges, a darker side of progress. However, the rapid pace of development has not been without its challenges. South Korea currently grapples with some serious societal issues, most notably its high suicide rates and the lowest fertility rate in the world. The pressure to succeed in South Korea is immense. From a young age, individuals are pushed to excel academically and professionally, leading to a highly competitive society. This intense competition, coupled with long working hours and a lack of work-life balance, has taken a toll on the mental health of the population, contributing to the high suicide rates. At the same time, the country is facing a demographic crisis. The combination of economic pressures, the high cost of living, and changing societal norms has led to a sharp decline in the fertility rate. Young couples are choosing to delay or forego having children, citing financial instability and the challenges of balancing work and family life as major deterrents. Finding balance in the midst of progress. South Korea's journey from a war-torn nation to an economic powerhouse is a testament to what can be achieved with determination and strategic planning. However, the societal challenges it faces serve as a stark reminder that economic prosperity does not automatically translate to societal well-being. As South Korea continues on its path of progress, it is imperative that these issues are addressed, ensuring that the nation's growth is sustainable and inclusive, and that the well-being of its citizens remains a top priority. The maturity of South Korea's Chaebol system. South Korea's economic landscape is intricately woven with the threads of its Chaebol system. The term Chaebol might sound foreign to many, but in South Korea, it's synonymous with economic power and influence. These are not just any corporations, they are vast, family-controlled conglomerates that have been instrumental in shaping the nation's economic trajectory. The story of Chaebols is rooted in the 1960s when South Korea was emerging from the shadows of the Korean War. The nation was in dire need of economic rejuvenation, and the government, under President Park Chung-hee, saw an opportunity in fostering industrial growth. Chaebols were the chosen vehicles for this transformation. With generous government incentives, including tax breaks and protection from foreign competition, these conglomerates embarked on a journey of rapid expansion and diversification. From textiles to electronics, from shipbuilding to entertainment, Chaebols spread their wings far and wide. But what truly sets Chaebols apart and lends them their mature status is their adaptability and resilience. Over the decades, they have demonstrated an uncanny ability to pivot in response to changing market dynamics. Their investments in research and development have ensured that they remain at the cutting edge of innovation. Brands like Samsung and Hyundai are testament to the global footprint of Chaebols. These brands are not just popular in South Korea, they have a global presence and are recognized and respected worldwide. Family plays a central role in the Chaebol system. Despite their vastness and complexity, Chaebols have largely remained under the tight-knit control of founding families. This has ensured a consistent vision and strategy, even as individual companies within the conglomerate diversified into different sectors. The family's influence is palpable, and it's not uncommon to find multiple generations of a family involved in the conglomerate's management. However, the Chaebol system is not without its critics. Their sheer size and influence mean they often operate with a level of impunity. Concerns about monopolistic practices, lack of transparency, and potential conflicts of interest due to family control have been raised time and again. Moreover, their dominance poses challenges for small and medium-sized enterprises, often stifling their growth potential. In conclusion, the Chaebol system, with its deep roots in South Korean society and its significant influence on the nation's economy, is a double-edged sword. While they have been pivotal in driving economic growth and putting South Korea on the global map, the challenges they pose cannot be ignored. As South Korea looks to the future, finding a balance that harnesses the strengths of Chaebols while addressing their challenges will be crucial. Chaebols' influence on politics and elections, navigating the murky waters. South Korea's Chaebols are not just economic powerhouses, their influence extends far beyond the realm of business. Over the years, these conglomerates have become deeply entwined with the nation's political fabric, often blurring the lines between business interests and political agendas. The historical context. To understand the depth of Chaebols' political influence, one must look back at South Korea's history. The symbiotic relationship between Chaebols and the government began in the 1960s and 1970s. The government, eager to drive economic growth, provided Chaebols with numerous incentives, from tax breaks to protection from foreign competition. In return, Chaebols were expected to spearhead the nation's industrialization efforts. This mutual dependency laid the groundwork for the close ties between Chaebols and the political establishment. Bribery and elections. Allegations of Chaebols using bribery to manipulate elections are not new. Over the years, there have been numerous instances where Chaebol leaders have been accused of offering bribes to politicians in exchange for favors. These favors could range from favorable policies and regulatory relaxations to shielding the Chaebols from investigations and legal actions. The rationale behind such actions is clear. By influencing political outcomes, Chaebols can ensure a conducive environment for their businesses. This could mean relaxed regulations, preferential treatment in government contracts, or even thwarting potential competitors. The implications. The influence of Chaebols on politics and elections has profound implications for South Korea's democracy. When business interests start dictating political agendas, it undermines the very essence of a democratic system. The interests of the general populace can be sidelined in favor of a select few, leading to policies that may not necessarily be in the best interest of the nation as a whole. Moreover, such practices erode public trust in the political system. When people feel that elections can be manipulated by powerful business interests, they may become disillusioned with the democratic process, leading to voter apathy and cynicism. The influence of chaebols on South Korea's politics and elections is a complex issue that has evolved over decades. While these conglomerates have played a pivotal role in the nation's economic development, their involvement in politics raises critical questions about the health of South Korea's democracy. As the nation continues to grapple with this challenge, finding a way to ensure a clear separation between business and politics will be crucial for the future of its democratic institutions. Chaebols and the South Korean presidency, an intricate web of power and influence. In the bustling heart of Seoul stands the Blue House, or Chongwha-dae, a symbol of South Korea's executive power. But behind its serene facade lies a tale of power, influence, and the intricate dance between the nation's political leaders and its economic giants, the chaebols. The rise of chaebols, these vast family-controlled conglomerates, is nothing short of meteoric. From humble beginnings, they have grown to dominate South Korea's economic landscape, their tentacles reaching into every sector, from electronics to shipbuilding, from finance to entertainment. But their influence doesn't stop at the economy. Over the years, chaebols have woven themselves into the very fabric of South Korea's political tapestry. Imagine a newly elected president, stepping into the hallowed halls of the Blue House, carrying with him the hopes and aspirations of millions. But alongside the weight of public expectation is another, more subtle pressure. If this president has ascended to power with the backing of chaebols, there's an unspoken understanding, a silent agreement. In return for their support, these conglomerates expect a conducive environment for their businesses. This could manifest in various ways: relaxed regulations, preferential treatment, or even shielding from potential legal entanglements. This reciprocity is not born out of malice but out of mutual benefit. A prosperous chaebol means a prosperous South Korea. Their success stories, from global brands like Samsung and Hyundai to technological innovations, have put South Korea on the world map. It's a relationship of give and take, where both parties, the political leaders and the chaebols, benefit. However, this relationship has its shadows. The curse of the Blue House is a term that has echoed through the corridors of power in South Korea. Time and again, presidents, once their tenure ends, find themselves mired in allegations of corruption and bribery, often linked to chaebols. These allegations, whether true or not, cast a long shadow over the nation's political landscape, eroding public trust and faith in the democratic process. In the heart of Seoul, as the Blue House stands tall, it serves as a reminder of the delicate balance of power and influence in South Korea. The dance between chaebols and the presidency is intricate, filled with nuances. As the nation looks to the future, untangling this web, ensuring transparency, accountability, and preserving the sanctity of its democratic institutions will be its greatest challenge. Chaebol's economic grip, a tale of pervasive influence. South Korea's skyline, dotted with skyscrapers bearing names like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG, tells a story of economic success. But behind these towering edifices lies a more intricate narrative of power, influence, and an almost unyielding grip on the nation's economy by the chaebols. The reach of chaebols. The chaebols are not mere economic entities, they are behemoths that have extended their influence far and wide. Their reach is not limited to the boardrooms or the marketplaces. Over the decades, they have woven themselves into the very fabric of South Korea's governance structure. From legislative bodies to executive agencies, from local municipalities to the hallowed halls of the judiciary, the footprint of chaebols can be found everywhere. This pervasive influence is not merely about economic dominance. It's about shaping policies, influencing decisions, and ensuring that the machinery of governance works in a way that's conducive to their interests. It's about having a say in the rules of the game and, at times, even setting them. The evolution of chaebols. The journey of chaebols has seen its share of twists and turns. In the initial years, up until 1985, chaebols underwent several changes. These changes were driven by a combination of factors: evolving government policies, shifting market dynamics, and the need to adapt to a rapidly globalizing world. However, post-1985, a noticeable shift occurred. The Chaebols, having established themselves as the pillars of South Korea's economy, became more resistant to change. Their structures, business models, and strategies solidified. The government, recognizing their importance to the nation's economic fortunes, was often hesitant to enforce drastic reforms. This status quo, where Chaebols remained largely unchanged, further entrenched their position in the South Korean economy and polity. The Chaebols, with their vast resources and deep-rooted influence, are a testament to South Korea's economic miracle. But their pervasive grip on the nation's governance structures raises pertinent questions about the balance of power, the role of big businesses in shaping policies, and the need for checks and balances. As South Korea charts its future course, addressing the economic and political grip of Chaebols will be one of its most significant challenges. The colossal footprint of the top 5 Chaebols, an economic odyssey. In the vibrant tapestry of South Korea's economic history, the 1990s shimmer as a golden era, a time of rapid growth, innovation, and global expansion. But as the nation basked in its newfound prosperity, a deeper narrative was unfolding, one that revolved around the immense influence of its Chaebols. As the sun rose on 1990, a staggering revelation came to light. The combined output of just 5 Chaebols, Samsung, LG, SK, Hyundai, and Lotte, was equivalent to 2/3 of South Korea's entire GDP. This wasn't just a statistic, it was a testament to the sheer magnitude of their economic might. Imagine the bustling streets of Seoul, with its neon lights, bustling markets, and the hum of activity. Now, picture this: every product you see, every billboard, every store, there's a high likelihood it's linked to one of these 5 Chaebols. From the smartphone in your hand to the car you drive, from the movie you watch to the snack you enjoy, the fingerprints of these conglomerates were everywhere. But what drove this dominance? It was a confluence of factors. These Chaebols weren't just business entities, they were empires, each spanning a myriad of industries. Samsung wasn't just about electronics, it had interests in shipbuilding, construction, and even fashion. Hyundai wasn't just cars, it was about heavy industries, logistics, and more. This diversification was a masterstroke, allowing these Chaebols to tap into multiple revenue streams and cushion themselves against economic downturns. Innovation was another cornerstone. Brands like Samsung and LG were not just market leaders, they were trendsetters, pushing the boundaries of technology and delivering products that captivated consumers worldwide. Yet, this narrative had its shadows. With great power came great influence, and these Chaebols wielded it in spades. Their reach extended beyond the marketplaces, into the corridors of power, shaping policies, influencing decisions, and at times, drawing the ire of regulators and watchdogs. As South Korea marched into the new millennium, the legacy of this era and the dominance of its top Chaebols would be a topic of much debate, admiration, and introspection. Their colossal footprint was a testament to their vision, tenacity, and entrepreneurial spirit, but it also underscored the challenges of ensuring a level playing field, fostering competition, and keeping the wheels of the economy turning smoothly. South Korea's banking system and the John's model, a tapestry of tradition and control. Nestled in the heart of East Asia, South Korea is a land of contrasts. Its modern skyscrapers stand tall against the backdrop of ancient palaces, and its bustling markets coexist with serene temples. But beyond its landscapes and architecture, South Korea's contrasts extend to its economic and financial systems, where tradition meets control, and the past intertwines with the present. The pillar of the economy, South Korea's banking system. South Korea's banking system is not just a collection of financial institutions, it's the lifeblood of its economy. Over the decades, as the nation transformed from a war-torn land to an economic powerhouse, its banks played a pivotal role, channeling funds, spurring investments, and fostering growth. But the banks were not just passive players. During the era of military dictatorship, under the leadership of Park Chung-hee, the banking system became an instrument of control. Park, a visionary leader with an iron will, recognized the power of the purse. He understood that by controlling the flow of money, he could shape the destiny of the nation. And so, the banks, under the watchful eye of the government, became tools to control the Chaebols, the mighty conglomerates that were driving South Korea's economic miracle. Through a complex web of regulations, directives, and incentives, Park ensured that the Chaebols, while enjoying the freedom to innovate and expand, remained aligned with the nation's broader economic goals. The banks were the conduits through which this control was exercised, ensuring that funds flowed where they were needed, but always under the overarching vision of the state. The Jeonse model, a unique financial tradition. Amidst the modernity of South Korea's financial landscape lies a tradition that is uniquely Korean, the Jeonse model. At its core, Jeonse is a rental system, but it's unlike any other in the world. Instead of monthly rents, tenants provide landlords with a large deposit, which is returned to them at the end of the lease. This system, rooted in trust and tradition, has been a cornerstone of South Korea's housing market for decades. But Jeonse is not just a financial arrangement, it's a reflection of South Korea's societal values, where trust is paramount and relationships are cherished. It's a system that has its challenges, especially in a rapidly urbanizing nation with soaring real estate prices, but it remains a testament to South Korea's ability to balance tradition with modernity. South Korea's banking system and the Jeonse model are emblematic of the nation's journey, a journey where the past meets the present, where control meets freedom, and where tradition meets innovation. As South Korea looks to the future, the lessons from its banking system and the Jeonse model will serve as guiding lights, illuminating the path forward. The Jeonse model and South Korea's real estate conundrum. South Korea, with its bustling cities, rich history, and vibrant culture, is a nation of many facets. Among its many unique attributes is a real estate system that stands apart from the rest of the world, the Jeonse model. But as with many things that are unique, the Jeonse model comes with its own set of challenges and implications. Understanding the Jeonse model. At its core, the Jeonse model is a rental system, but it's markedly different from what most of the world is accustomed to. Instead of paying a monthly rent, tenants in South Korea provide landlords with a substantial deposit. This deposit, often amounting to a significant portion of the property's value, is held by the landlord for the duration of the lease. At the end of the lease term, the entire deposit is returned to the tenant. On the surface, this might seem like a win-win. Tenants can live rent-free, while landlords have a lump sum that they can invest or use as they see fit. But the reality is more complex. The real estate crisis, Jeonse's role. The Jeonse model, while deeply rooted in South Korean culture and tradition, has inadvertently contributed to the nation's real estate crisis. Here's how. Skyrocketing deposits. As real estate prices in cities like Seoul soared, so did Jeonse deposits. For many young and middle-class families, coming up with such a hefty sum became increasingly challenging. Speculation and investment. The Jeonse system made real estate an attractive investment. Landlords could secure large sums of money without the monthly hassles of rent collection. This led to increased demand for properties, driving prices even higher. Reduced housing supply, with the potential to earn from rising property values and the security of large deposits, many landlords chose not to rent out their properties, leading to a reduced supply of available housing and further escalating prices. Financial vulnerability. The system also posed risks for tenants. If a landlord faced financial difficulties or bankruptcy, the tenant's deposit could be at risk. A tradition in transition. The Jeonse model, once a symbol of trust and mutual respect between landlords and tenants, is now at the heart of a broader debate about housing affordability, financial security, and the role of tradition in a rapidly changing society. As South Korea grapples with these challenges, the Jont's model serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between preserving cultural heritage and adapting to the realities of a modern economy. The 1997 financial crisis, South Korea's economic tsunami. The late 1990s was a tumultuous period for Asia. Economies that had once been hailed as tigers and dragons for their rapid growth and burgeoning potential were suddenly facing an unprecedented crisis. At the epicenter of this financial storm was the 1997 Asian financial crisis, a cataclysmic event that sent shockwaves throughout the region. South Korea, a nation that had been riding high on the waves of economic success, found itself caught in the tempest. The gathering storm. As 1997 dawned, there were subtle signs of economic strain across Asia. Currency values were fluctuating, foreign debt was mounting, and investor confidence was waning. But amidst this, South Korea stood as a beacon of resilience. Its economy was robust, its industries were thriving, and its future seemed bright. However, as the year progressed, the undercurrents of the crisis began to pull South Korea into its vortex. The Chaebols, giants in distress. The Chaebols, the colossal conglomerates that had been the pillars of South Korea's economic miracle, found themselves at the forefront of the crisis. These entities, with their vast networks of companies and intricate web of financial dealings, began to face what is known as a capital chain crisis. In simple terms, the Chaebols had overextended themselves. They had taken on massive debts, betting on continued economic growth and easy access to capital. But as the crisis deepened, liquidity dried up. Loans became hard to come by, and debts began to mount. One by one, these giants, which had once seemed invincible, began to falter. The national impact. The distress of the Chaebols had a cascading effect on the entire South Korean economy. Banks, burdened with bad loans, faced insolvency. The stock market plummeted, and the Korean won, the national currency, lost its value precipitously. Unemployment soared, businesses shuttered, and a sense of despair gripped the nation. South Korea, which had been a symbol of economic triumph, was now facing its darkest hour. The 1997 financial crisis was a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities inherent in a globalized economy. For South Korea, it was a period of introspection, resilience, and ultimately, recovery. The nation rallied, reforms were instituted, and over time, South Korea emerged stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the challenges of the future. South Korea and the IMF, a lifeline in troubled waters. The year 1997 will forever be etched in the annals of South Korea's economic history. As the Asian financial crisis raged on, South Korea found itself on the brink of an economic abyss. The once thriving nation, known for its technological prowess and industrial might, was now grappling with a collapsing currency, skyrocketing debt, and a banking sector on the verge of insolvency. The situation was dire, and the need for a lifeline was palpable. The descent into crisis. The rapid descent of South Korea's economy was a shock to many. The Korean won was in free fall, losing over half its value against the US dollar in mere months. Foreign reserves were dwindling, and there was a real fear of a national default. The Chaebols, the industrial conglomerates that had been the backbone of the nation's economic success, were heavily leveraged and facing their own set of challenges. In this atmosphere of uncertainty, foreign investors began pulling out their investments, further exacerbating the liquidity crunch. The stock market was in turmoil, and confidence in the South Korean economy was at an all-time low. The IMF to the rescue. In this hour of need, South Korea turned to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, for assistance. After intense negotiations, an agreement was reached. The IMF, along with other international lenders, would provide South Korea with a staggering $58 billion loan package. This wasn't just any loan, it was the largest loan the IMF had ever sanctioned up to that point. The loan came with strings attached. South Korea had to commit to a series of economic reforms, including restructuring its banking sector, increasing transparency in its financial systems, and implementing tighter monetary policies. These measures, while painful in the short term, were deemed necessary to stabilize the economy and restore investor confidence. The road to recovery. The IMF loan acted as a much-needed lifeline for South Korea. It provided the nation with the breathing space it needed to implement reforms and stabilize its economy. Over the next few years, South Korea embarked on a rigorous path of economic restructuring. Banks were consolidated, and profitable chaebols were let go, and a renewed focus was placed on transparency and governance. The journey was not without its challenges, but the resilience of the South Korean people, combined with sound economic policies, ensured that the nation not only recovered from the crisis but emerged stronger and more robust. The 1997 financial crisis and the subsequent IMF loan were defining moments for South Korea. They tested the nation's mettle, challenged its economic paradigms, and ultimately set it on a path of sustainable growth and development. The story of South Korea and the IMF is a testament to the power of collaboration, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit. Post-crisis South Korea, a journey of resilience and adaptation. In the aftermath of the 1997 financial crisis, South Korea found itself at a crossroads. The crisis had not only shaken the nation's economic foundations but had also exposed the vulnerabilities in its banking system. As the country grappled with the immediate fallout, it became evident that a more profound transformation was needed to ensure long-term stability and growth. Banking reforms, laying a new foundation. The banking sector, which had been at the heart of the crisis, underwent a significant overhaul. The government recognized that for the economy to recover and thrive, the banking system needed to be robust, transparent, and resilient. Smaller banks, which were struggling to stay afloat, were merged or acquired by larger, more stable entities. This consolidation aimed to create a banking landscape that was not only more resilient to shocks but also more efficient. Regulatory oversight was also enhanced. The Financial Supervisory Service, FSS, was empowered to keep a closer watch on financial institutions, ensuring that they adhered to stricter standards of transparency and accountability. This move was crucial in restoring public and investor confidence in the banking system. To address the liquidity crunch, the government injected capital into the banks. This infusion of funds ensured that banks had the necessary resources to operate, lend, and play their pivotal role in kickstarting the economy. Lastly, there was a renewed emphasis on risk management. Banks were encouraged to adopt global best practices, ensuring they were better equipped to handle economic shocks and challenges in the future. Navigating modern challenges. While the banking reforms set the stage for economic recovery, South Korea soon realized that the world around it was changing rapidly. The rise of digital technology was disrupting traditional business models. Fintech startups were offering innovative financial solutions, challenging the dominance of traditional banks. Demographic changes posed another challenge. With an aging population and declining birth rates, there were concerns about the long-term sustainability of economic growth. The government had to rethink its policies, focusing on innovation, upskilling, and creating a more inclusive economy. Global economic uncertainties, such as trade wars and geopolitical tensions, meant that South Korea had to be nimble in its economic strategies. The country had to find a balance between protecting its domestic industries and embracing globalization. Lastly, societal pressures were mounting. The younger generation, while enjoying the fruits of economic growth, was also grappling with rising income inequality, the pressures of the rat race, and societal expectations. These challenges required not just economic solutions but also a rethinking of societal values and norms. The post-crisis era has been a period of introspection, resilience, and transformation for South Korea. The country has not only managed to recover from one of its most significant economic challenges but has also laid the foundation for a more sustainable and inclusive future. The journey, while fraught with challenges, offers valuable lessons in resilience, adaptability, and the importance of staying ahead of the curve. South Korea's dual reality, shining success and shadowed struggles. In the global arena, South Korea often stands out as a beacon of progress and innovation. Its transformation from a war-torn nation to a technological powerhouse is a story of determination, resilience, and forward thinking. However, like the yin and yang, there's a contrasting side to this success story. While the nation's economic skyline reaches new heights, there are underlying challenges that cast long shadows on its societal landscape. The weight of prosperity. South Korea's rapid economic ascent came with its own set of pressures. The nation's ethos, deeply rooted in Confucian values, emphasizes hard work, respect for elders, and societal conformity. While these values played a role in the country's growth, they also brought about unintended consequences. The relentless pursuit of success, often termed the rat race, has become a defining feature of modern South Korean life. From a young age, individuals are pushed to excel academically, leading to long hours of study and immense pressure to succeed. This culture of overachievement continues into adulthood, where long working hours and the drive to climb the corporate ladder dominate. Such pressures have taken a toll on the mental well-being of many South Koreans. The nation, despite its prosperity, has one of the highest suicide rates among developed countries. The reasons are complex, intertwining financial pressures, societal expectations, personal relationships, and the often stigmatized issue of mental health. Moreover, the constant grind and the pursuit of success have impacted the overall happiness and contentment of the populace. Despite being one of the world's leading economies, South Korea has a surprisingly low ranking on the Global Happiness Index. The silent echo of success, a demographic challenge. The societal pressures and challenges aren't just abstract concepts, they have tangible repercussions. One of the most evident manifestations of these pressures is the nation's declining birth rate. South Korea's birth rate, currently at 0.84, is the lowest globally. The reasons are multifaceted. The high cost of living, especially in urban centers like Seoul, combined with the pressures of work, has led many young couples to delay or even forego starting a family. Additionally, the societal expectations around child-rearing, education, and the roles of mothers add layers of complexity to the issue. This demographic challenge is further compounded by an aging population, leading to concerns about the future workforce's size and the sustainability of the nation's social security systems. South Korea's journey is a tale of contrasts. Its economic achievements are undeniable, and its global influence, especially in technology and culture, continues to grow. Yet, beneath this success lies a more intricate narrative, one that speaks of societal pressures, challenges, and the need for introspection. As South Korea looks to the future, it stands at a crossroads. The path ahead requires a delicate balance between honoring traditions and values while addressing the very real challenges that its people face. It's a journey of not just economic growth but also of societal well-being and harmony. Samsung's legacy, a tale of vision, innovation, and dominance. In the annals of corporate history, few companies have had an impact as profound and lasting as Samsung. From its humble beginnings in 1938 as a small trading company dealing in dried fish and locally grown groceries, Samsung has transformed into a global conglomerate, its influence permeating various sectors from electronics to shipbuilding, from finance to construction. The genesis of a giant. Lee Byung-chul, the founder of Samsung, started the company in Sudong with a mere 30,000 won. The initial business was simple, trading dried fish, locally grown groceries, and noodles. But Lee had a vision that went beyond these modest beginnings. He believed in the potential of his homeland, South Korea, and was determined to contribute to its development. In the 1960s, as South Korea embarked on its journey of industrialization, Samsung diversified into textiles, food processing, securities, and insurance. But it was in the 1970s that Samsung took a leap that would define its future. It entered the electronics industry, laying the foundation for its transformation into a global tech titan. Innovation at its core. Samsung's rise in the electronics sector is a testament to its commitment to innovation and quality. The company invested heavily in research and development, ensuring it was at the forefront of technological advancements. From its first black and white television in the 1970s to the cutting-edge smartphones and semiconductors of today, Samsung's journey has been marked by a relentless pursuit of excellence. The Galaxy series of smartphones, in particular, catapulted Samsung to the top, challenging established players and setting new standards in mobile technology. Similarly, Samsung's dominance in the semiconductor industry, especially its DRAM chips, has solidified its position as a global leader. More than just electronics. While electronics is the most visible facet of Samsung's business, the conglomerate's influence extends far beyond. Samsung C&T, the group's construction arm, has been involved in building some of the world's most iconic structures, including the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Samsung Heavy Industries is a major player in shipbuilding, while Samsung Life Insurance is a key player in the finance sector. Challenges and criticisms. Samsung's journey, while marked by success, has not been without challenges. The company has faced criticisms related to labor practices, corporate governance, and its Chaebols structure. Legal battles, especially the high-profile patent disputes with Apple, have also been a part of its journey. Samsung's story is intertwined with South Korea's narrative of transformation. For over 60 years, the company has been at the forefront, driving innovation, setting standards, and contributing to the nation's development. As Samsung looks to the future, it carries with it a legacy of vision, resilience, and a commitment to excellence. Samsung's global footprint, beyond borders and industries. In today's interconnected world, few brands are as instantly recognizable as Samsung. Its logo graces a myriad of products, from the smartphones in our pockets to the televisions in our living rooms, from the chips that power our devices to the ships that traverse our oceans. But Samsung's influence isn't just limited to products, it's a brand that has left an indelible mark on the global landscape. A global brand with local sensibilities. Samsung's success on the global stage can be attributed to its ability to adapt and cater to local markets. While it's a South Korean brand at its core, Samsung has always emphasized understanding the nuances of the regions it operates in. This localization strategy has allowed Samsung to tailor its products to meet the specific needs and preferences of different markets. For instance, in India, Samsung introduced a range of washing machines with a unique sari cycle feature, specifically designed to wash the traditional Indian attire without tangling. In Africa, Samsung developed solar-powered mobile phones for areas with limited access to electricity. Innovation centers and R&D, pushing the boundaries. Samsung's commitment to innovation is evident in its investment in research and development. The company operates several innovation centers and R&D facilities across the globe, from Silicon Valley to Europe to Asia. These hubs are where Samsung's next generation of products are conceptualized, developed, and tested. Collaborations with universities, tech startups, and research institutions are a hallmark of Samsung's approach to innovation. By fostering a culture of open innovation, Samsung ensures it remains at the cutting edge of technology. Sustainability and corporate responsibility. As a global leader, Samsung recognizes its responsibility towards the environment and society. The company has undertaken various initiatives to promote sustainability, from eco-friendly product designs to energy-efficient manufacturing processes. Samsung's Hope for Children program is a testament to its commitment to societal well-being. Through this initiative, Samsung supports education, healthcare, and sustainability programs for children around the world. Challenges in a dynamic world. Being a global leader comes with its set of challenges. Samsung operates in a highly competitive and rapidly evolving industry. From patent disputes to navigating geopolitical tensions, Samsung has had to maneuver through a complex web of challenges. However, its ability to adapt, innovate, and stay true to its core values has ensured its continued dominance. Samsung's journey from a small trading company in South Korea to a global tech behemoth is a story of vision, perseverance, and adaptability. As the company looks to the future, it carries with it the weight of its legacy and the promise of continued innovation and leadership. South Korea's economic odyssey, from war-torn ruins to global powerhouse. South Korea's transformation from a war-ravaged nation to an economic juggernaut is one of the most remarkable success stories of the 20th and 21st centuries. This journey, filled with challenges, innovations, and sheer determination, offers invaluable lessons for nations and businesses worldwide. The Phoenix rises, post-war reconstruction. In the aftermath of the Korean War, South Korea was left in ruins, with its infrastructure decimated and its economy in shambles. The nation's GDP per capita was one of the lowest in the world, comparable to the poorest African nations. However, with aid from the United States and a vision for the future, South Korea embarked on an ambitious plan to rebuild and modernize its economy. The miracle on the Han River. The 1960s and 1970s saw South Korea undergo rapid industrialization, often referred to as the miracle on the Han River. The government, under the leadership of Park Chung-hee, implemented policies that promoted export-led growth. Industries such as steel, shipbuilding, and electronics became the pillars of the South Korean economy. The government's focus on education also ensured a skilled workforce, ready to drive the nation's industrial ambitions. The rise of the Chaebols. Central to South Korea's economic success story is the role of Chaebols, large, family-owned business conglomerates. Companies like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG began as small enterprises but, with support from the government and a vision for global dominance, they expanded into multi-sectoral giants. The Chaebols played a pivotal role in South Korea's export-driven growth, with their products gaining popularity worldwide. However, the Chaebols' dominance also brought challenges. Issues of corporate governance, transparency, and their influence on politics have been points of contention and debate. Challenges and resilience. South Korea's journey was not without its hurdles. The 1997 Asian financial crisis hit the nation hard, leading to significant economic turmoil. However, with reforms, support from the International Monetary Fund, and a focus on innovation, South Korea bounced back, showcasing its resilience. In recent times, South Korea faces new challenges. From demographic shifts, with a declining birth rate and an aging population, to societal pressures leading to mental health concerns, the nation grapples with issues that threaten its continued growth. South Korea's economic odyssey is a testament to the nation's vision, determination, and adaptability. From the ashes of war to the gleaming skyscrapers of Seoul, the nation's journey offers lessons in resilience, innovation, and the importance of a clear vision for the future.